Hello, this is Clay Staires with the Leadership Initiative. We are doing the series Winning in the Workplace. This is session number 5 in our management training. What we talked about in our last session, session 4, was simply getting the right seats, identifying the seats that you have in your company. We talked quite a bit about your organizational chart, how to work this thing and design this thing so you understand the different mindsets that are involved, the leader, the director, we have the manager, the worker. Remember, we also talked about sometimes workers can be like, you can have that one worker that's just really good. They're not quite management yet, but they're just a great worker, and that would be someone that would fit in here, maybe be a lead technician, a lead salesperson, or something like that. So this was just identifying. Last session was all about identifying the right seats that we have in our company. In this session today, we want to talk about finding the right people, making sure now that we have identified the seats, it's now time for us to begin to fill those seats with the right people. I have several clients across the country, and as I'm talking with them about the organizational chart, of course they look at this and they go, Clay, there's no way I can hire that many people. Remember, the organizational chart is not set up by people. The organizational chart is set up by responsibilities. Okay? If we're not careful, if we just have 2 or 3 or 5 people in the company, or 15 in the company, we'll just have 2, 3, or 5, or 15 boxes on the organizational chart. But what we want to do here is try to break the organization down based on responsibilities. So that's why we come up with so many boxes. And as we talked about last time, it's very often that we have the CEO up here, especially in smaller companies. The CEO up here is actually functioning in each of the different levels of the organization. Which is what it makes us go crazy, because on a daily basis we're all up and down. Not only are we trying to set the business on course for the next 9 months to 3 years, but we're also having to dive down and do the actual hands-on work on a daily basis, as well as make sure other people get their jobs done, and as well as writing systems and putting together policies and procedures and all that kind of stuff. And it just gets really overwhelming on a daily basis. So again, this is how we determine the right seats. Covered in our last session, session number 4. Today I want to begin talking about how we move from the right seats, and now we begin to get the right people to plug into each of these boxes. Again, the idea here is in each box you only have one name. Now again, it's possible that that one name is in multiple boxes, but in one box you can only have one name. Usually I have a client just talked with last week. They had several boxes that had 2 or 3 names in it. Just depending upon who was available, who was there, everybody they had all been cross-trained, but it just depended upon who was available at that certain time as to who would do it. That can make things really difficult when it comes to holding people accountable, because you come to that one box and there's 3 people in it. And if something didn't get done, it's just really easy to point fingers to the other folks. So let's talk about how to find these right people, where this comes from. First of all, I want to answer the question, when are we ready? So often, when I work with these business owners and entrepreneurs, what I find is they are up here, maybe they have 2 or 3 people working with them, but what they have discovered is they are just overwhelmed. They're just busy. They're running around all over the place, and there are certain things that they don't really want to do, just whatever they are, okay? It doesn't line up with their personality, or there's just things that they don't enjoy doing. So many times when we come to a problem, the first thing that we want to do to solve the problem is, well, I just need an assistant. I just need a helper. I just need to hire somebody to come and help with this, okay? And that may be true. You may need to get somebody. But if we run out and get a person before we have set up a process, then chances are very good that you're just going to bring this person into your chaos. So now we've got not just you and not just your 2 or 3 employees, but now you've got 4 or 5 employees, and now everybody's running around. Everybody's up on top of each other. So we want to make sure before we start hiring people that we have prepared the process. So we have prepared the process to get ready for the people, all right, to make sure we get the profit. I'm sorry, I'm off on all the P's, okay? But here we go. So what we're looking for now, how do we know when we are ready to hire for a specific box? Simply want you to know that here, what we are looking for, number one, the first thing you want to make sure that you do let's go over here to make sure that we are ready, is we want to make sure that we have identified the box that we want to fill, okay? Again, I find this way too often. Identify the box. I find this way too often where we just hire folks and we kind of piecemeal a job for them. You know, I need you to do a little bit of this, and yeah, I need you to answer some phones, and I need you to run some errands, and I need you to do some sales, I need you to do some marketing, and then I need you to run out and actually do some stuff for the customer and stuff like it. It was just kind of put things together for people. So what we want to do now that we have organized the seats, we want to identify specifically which box we want to fill with this new person that is coming in. Whether it is a worker level or a manager level or more of the leader level at the top. If you're in a spot as a CEO where you are having to spend too much time all up and down your organizational chart, I want to encourage you, chances are very good that what you need to do is begin here at the worker level, find a box down here to begin to delegate to other people. Hire to fill these boxes so you can get out of them. You don't have to spend all of that time working in your business every single day, but you can begin to pop up and start working more and more on your business. Okay? So first of all, identify the box. Number two, once we have identified the box, whichever one it is, we want to make sure that we have a clear job description. A clear job description. So if we are hiring for one of these boxes down here, remember this is our sales and marketing, this is operations, and this is our admin over here. But for any box that we're looking to fill, we want to make sure that we have a clear job description. If you're looking for how do we write a job description, how do we do all that, and keep in mind, you don't have to have a job description for every single one of these boxes right now. Just the box that you're looking to delegate. Just the box that you actually have humans in. You want to make sure you have clarity there. So we want to make sure in your job description that you've got the title, who that person is going to be reporting to. You want to make sure you have the job responsibilities and the job duties, as well as the scale, the pay scale, or at least a minimum of what that job would be paying for that individual. If you're looking for and need some ideas on specific job descriptions, please be sure to go to our website at claystairs.com. We have several downloadables there that can help you with your job descriptions. It's templates and samples that you can begin working off of to help you design a great job description. Once we have the job description, we also want to make sure that we have, I'm a huge fan of making sure that for each of these boxes, I also have identified the KPIs, the key performance indicators. If you are doing this job really well, what will be the outcome? What will you be producing for the company? These are important to have for each job description, so you're going to know how to evaluate if you have the right person in that position or not. Next of all, number 4, we want to make sure, as I said, you want to make sure you have the pay scale. It's actually possible for you to begin to take a look at each of these boxes. If you have a pay scale, you can begin to take a look at actually how much is going to cost to have the employees, the full level of employees that you're looking for in your company. And then finally, something that you don't have to do this, but I'm a big fan of this, is that I also like to have for each of the boxes a simple description of the type of personality that I want to have in that person. As we know, a salesperson, their personality is going to be very different than a bookkeeper personality. So I like to have a little bit in the end when I prepare for that box to make sure that I have a little bit of personality description there so that when I've delegated to other people to hire for that slot, they know exactly what type of person we're looking for. Okay? So these are some specific things that you want to have in place so that you know that you are now ready to hire. As opposed to, oh my gosh, I'm just really busy. I'm just going to hire somebody and bring them in, and I'm going to start giving them stuff, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm not going to have to do it anymore. Okay? Yeah, that won't happen. They'll come in. They won't know what to do. You won't really know what to do to delegate to them, and you won't have things in processes, so you'll be stuck in this spot of like, I want you to do sales. And we just kind of push them over into the sales department, and we never really train them much. We don't evaluate them much. We don't keep track of them. We just ask them to do sales. And then at the end of the week or the end of the month, we look and, did you do sales? And there's no sales, and we get frustrated, and we begin to fire people, okay? So we just want to make sure that we are clear when we are beginning to hire people, finding the right people to go into these right seats, okay? So now we know that we are ready. I'm ready to begin to go out and start recruiting. So let's talk a little bit about the steps that we want to go through to find the right people for each of these seats. I'm using this term, the right people in the right seats, a lot. You probably know from Jim Collins, Good to Great, wonderful book. Encourage you to read it if you haven't, but he talks quite a bit about what separates good companies from great companies. So we're talking about here, we want to make sure we have the right seats identified, and now we are getting the right people into these seats. So let's talk about recruiting the right people.